Cheers from Japan, Tokyo Toy Bastard here, and I just like to say, I like turtles. Yeah, Ninja Turtles too, but here we're gonna be talking about my favorite giant variety of turtle, Gamera. So, if you're a follower of this channel, if you've been following this channel for a few years, you may at some point have seen a video where I reviewed my Gamera collection, and I had a cold, and I kind of was just going around with a pretty bad camera showing my Gamera collection. I actually sold off my old Gamera collection, with the exception of a few pieces, and have been kind of re-collecting in the past year or so, and I've had a lot of good luck finding some good stuff. And I found some good stuff this weekend, which has helped complete some things that I needed. So I figured I would go ahead and show you which is pretty much my nearly completed Bandai Gamera soft vinyl collection, although I am missing some from the last wave, and these are all specifically for the Gamera Trilogy. But before I show off the toys, I want to start off by showing you this book. So this is a book published in Japan in Japanese of all of the Gamera collectibles released between the 60s and 1996. And it includes, like, you know, all the vintage figures, but it goes through all the 90s figures too. And I collect the vintage toys as well, but I'm not going to be showing the vintage toys in this video. Well, the vintage is in, like, the toys from the 60s and to the 80s, like the Keshi and other minifigures. I do have a bunch of those, but today I'm specifically focusing on the Gamera Trilogy soft vinyl toys. And most of these are Bandai, with the exception of one. But this is a cool book. It's a nice little checklist that shows, like, here's an example of some of the stuff I'm going to be showing today. But my friend Yuji told me about this book. I didn't know it existed, and I found a couple copies. So if you're a Gamera collector, a Gamera fan, I highly recommend picking up this book. One of the cool things it has in it, other than just having a checklist of all the toys, is towards the end it has all these kind of neat, not illustration, but diorama plates of the characters fighting on little diorama stages. So, like, for example, they've got the Gals versus Gamera from the first Gamera Trilogy movie, and Gamera versus Legion or Legion towards the end. This came out before Revenge of Iris, so the last toys in here are from the 1996 movie. Okay, so let's jump right into it. So let's start off with the very first movie in the Gamera Trilogy, or the Heisei Gamera Trilogy, which started in 1995 and ended in 1999. The first movie, Gamera Guardian of the Universe, was a decent hit here in Japan, and it came out the same time that Godzilla was actually finishing his run and supposedly being killed off by Toho. So Gamera is created by a rival company named Daiei. So they did their kind of more darker, realistic take on Gamera in the 90s. With Shusuke Kaneko directing, and the special effects with Shinji Higuchi, who did Shin Godzilla and Attack on Titan live action. So he's really good at doing the special effects for these kaiju movies. Oh, I just wiped some weird paint on. But anyway, here's the first Gamera figure produced by Bandai for the movie Guardian of the Universe from 1995. You probably can't read the bottom of that, but there's that. And this was actually a pretty big figure. He stands at 7+ inches tall, and later on in the series they started kind of making them smaller. But yeah, this is a cool figure. He's very basic as far as his paint and stuff, but I love it. And he came paired with, well, not paired with, you could buy these both together at the same time, his rival Gyaos from the same film, featuring the more grotesque version. The movie has a really cool monster battle towards the end where there's a giant Gyaos, and it's obviously a man in a suit. The other ones are more like puppets when they're smaller, but the movie has some good special effects, but it's got way more old school style monster brawls than the other two have. The other two have a lot more CG enhanced effects, which works well sometimes don't. But this one's more of a classic movie. I love the movie. And they also released a box set of the same two figures but scaled down. as you can see here with the Tokyo Tower. So these were still Bandai, but these were produced through Yutaka. Bandai's kind of more cheapo line of toys. And I've talked about Yutaka Dragon Ball before, but I like these box sets that Yutaka puts out. They also did box sets of mini SOFUBI Godzilla toys like this. I have a couple loose here, if you can see how they look compared to the standard jumbo size versions. So there's regular Gamera. You notice the miniature one has more of a bright paint on the back, more metallic paint. And here is Gyaos with the miniature version. I like both versions, but I like the miniature toys better because they're cheaper, first of all, and you can fit more in your small collecting space if you're running out of space. And they also released a box set. I don't have the box set, but with these in them that have the flying versions of the characters. I really like this cute little Gamera, chibi style Gamera flying, and the Gyaos. Okay, now we're going to move on to Gamera 2, Attack of Legion, or Attack of Legion. In Japan, he's pronounced Legion, but he's supposed to be called Legion. But I refer to him as Legion because that's how he's called in Japan. So first we're going to start off with the standard Gamera 2 figure. So these were released in '96. They have Gamera in more of a hunched over pose. And this is actually the second, well, yeah, technically, well, I don't know which one came first, but there are two types of this particular figure, or there's only one type of the '95 figure. So we'll compare those two. You can see how he looks a little bit smaller and hunched over. Still roughly the same scale, he's just kind of bent over, but head's a little smaller. I like the design of this one a little better. I mean, as far as the character in the movie goes. But one cool thing that they did have going with this, other than the miniature version, here's the miniature version, almost identical, was that they produced a theater exclusive, Bam, and he's got these kind of nice, kind of lava-looking applications. So he's a clear orange vinyl, and he's got red, black, and gold highlights, and he's pretty wicked. I actually showed this off in my first Gamera video from a few years back, which was actually my first toy-related video on this channel, believe it or not. Here he is compared to the regular one. So yeah, you can only buy this version in the movie theaters, and when they release a kaiju movie here in Japan, they often do produce, Bandai produces these movie monster series where you can only buy them exclusively from the theaters, and they get pretty expensive, but yeah, I love the gold and lava fiery colors on this one. And here we have the villain of the movie, Legion. I just picked this up this weekend. I used to have one that was really ratty, and I ended up trading it years back, but now I've got it back, and this one's almost in perfect condition. And it's a huge vinyl figure. And they also made a miniature of him. And I've got one that still has the original tag on it via Yutaka, but still made by Bandai. And I've also got the box set of the miniatures here from the movie. Yutaka released box set with Legion and Gamera. This one's got a bit of a dented back. I also have the VHS of this movie somewhere. I like the artwork, but my kids lost it. I can't find it. Bummer. Oh, speaking of the theater exclusive, I also did pick up this. I bought this at Toy Cats. This is the coin that came from the theater. If you went to the theater to see Gamera 2 in 1996, you could pick up this coin along with the theater vinyl exclusive. It was kind of cool. I have some of these coins. I have some for Godzilla. I have some for Dragon Ball. But yeah, pretty much any movie that's produced in Japan releases a coin of some sort in these little cases. Alright, so that's Gamera 2. And let me get to Gamera 3 now. Gamera 3 is, I don't know if it's my least favorite. It used to be my most favorite because I actually have a tattoo of Gamera from Gamera 3 on my arm, which I've showed off before. There's Gamera from Gamera 3 on my arm. I really like the design of him, and some of the battle scenes are spectacular. But the vinyls for the movie were even smaller than the Gamera 2, and I currently don't have one for some reason. I think my son does. I can't find it. I do have a vinyl of that particular Gamera, but not the standard Bandai or the theater exclusive. I do have the villain from the movie, which is Iris, or Iris. So this is the standard Bandai one. They did make miniatures of him, I just don't have them. I'm not a big collector of Gamera 3 specifically. I prefer the first two movies. I do have some miniature, sorry if I'm breathing heavy, it's very humid and hot. I had to turn the air conditioner off, and I basically sped walk here from work, so forgive me. And I'm also out of shape. But I do have these miniature soft vinyl toys produced by Bandai. These were Gashapon toys. You got Gamera from part 3. And Gyaos. I also do have some Keshi of the Gamera Trilogy, but I have so many Gamera Keshi in various forms. I'm going to save those for their separate video, and I'm going to use a different camera and film just my hands so that they're easier to see because they're just too small. And finally, here's the last one here. So this is the Gamera from Gamera 3, but this is not made by Bandai like all these other toys I've showed. This is actually produced by Maru-san, who was the very first producer of vinyl toys in Japan, and they released this in 1999, and it is their version of Gamera 3. Gamera 3's Gamera. And he's got that kind of traditional old school Maru-san style, where it's, you know, stylized and it's kind of cute. The paints are not exactly realistic to the movie. He's got gold eyes, gold teeth. He's got a light blue and turquoise body, and then he's got this kind of shiny green shell. He's just really cool looking. I like Maru-san's toys. I collect a lot of Maru-san stuff. But yeah, I want to get more stuff like this. I used to have more of these types of things. I may have shown some of things like this in my old Gamera toy review video, which I will link at the end of this video. But yeah, you know, it's been nice to get back into Gamera, and I have so many Gamera toys, like even from the trilogies, like Gashapon, HG, deluxe toys, miniature figures, Keshi, the old school ones. I've shown some other ones off in some other videos. It's just so many. There's no way I could show them all in this one video. So I wanted to keep this video under 15 minutes long. And sorry for rambling. You know, that's my style. But yeah, if you would like to see the Gamera Keshi or the other Gamera collections I have, please let me know in the comments which you would like. Which is your favorite Gamera movie? Do you like the original movies, or do you like the Heisei trilogy? Did you like Gamera the Brave? Are you sad that they never made a sequel to Gamera 3, or that they never made a full movie that was based on the teaser trailer promo that they released back in 2015? You know, if you don't know what that is, I'll also link that in the description or somehow at the end of this video. But yeah, that's it for me. I'll be back with some more Dragon Ball content soon. I've been getting a lot more requests for Dragon Ball, vintage Dragon Ball stuff. And I've got some maybe exciting news in the future as far as that goes. So, but yeah, stay in touch, stay tuned, and I'll see you next week.